பன்னீர்செல்வம் சார், ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் சார்.
ஓகே. டாக்டர் ஜிஎஸ்டி ஜாயின் பண்ணிட்டாங்களா
சார்? நீ ஜாயின் பண்ணலீங்க சார்.
சரி, நீங்க ப்ரொசீட் பண்ணிக்கணும். நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
பண்ணிக்கலாம் சார்.
ஓகே. அகில இந்திய கட்டுநர் கழகம் கோவை மையத்தின் சார்பாக நடைபெற்றுக் கொண்டிருக்கும் ஆன்லைன் இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் ப்ரோக்ராம், இந்த நிகழ்விலே இன்றைய சிறப்பு விருந்தினராக, சிறப்பு பேச்சாளராக கலந்து கொண்டிருக்கும் மதிப்பிற்குரிய திரு விமல் MS USAM கேட்ஸ் ஆஃப் இந்தியா பிரைவேட் லிமிடெட் அவர்களையும், இந்த நிகழ்ச்சியை தற்பொழுது நமக்கு தொகுத்து வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கும் எனது அருமை நண்பர் டாக்டர் கார்த்தி, கோயம்புத்தூர் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் டெக்னாலஜி அவர்களையும், மேலும் இன்றைய நிகழ்வில் கலந்து கொண்டிருக்கும் அனைத்து கல்லூரி துறை தலைவர்கள், ஆசிரியர் பெருமக்கள், மாணவ செல்வங்கள் மற்றும் அகில இந்திய கட்டுநர் கழகம் கோவை மையத்தின் எனது அருமை அலுவலக நிர்வாகிகள், நண்பர்கள், செயற்குழு பொதுக்குழு உறுப்பினர்கள், முன்னாள் தலைவர்கள், மூத்த உறுப்பினர்கள் அனைவரையும் இந்த மாலை வேளையில் வருக வருக என்று பெருமை கொள்கின்றேன். இந்த ஆன்லைன் இன்டர்ன்ஷிப் ப்ரோக்ராம் ஆனது 2 வாரங்களுக்கு திட்டமிட்டப்பட்டு இன்று 2வது நாளாக வெற்றிகரமாக நடைபெற உள்ளது. நேற்றைய நிகழ்வை கலந்து கொண்ட அனைவருக்கும் தெரியும், நேற்றைய நிகழ்வு மிக சிறப்பாக அமைந்தது. டாக்டர் கார்த்தி அவர்கள் சொன்னது போல கிட்டத்தட்ட 1500 நபர்கள் இதை வியூ பண்ணி உள்ளார்கள் என்பதை நினைக்கும் பொழுது மிக பெருமையாக உள்ளது. கண்டிப்பாக இவை மாணவ செல்வங்களுக்கு பயனுள்ளதாக அமையும் என்பதில் எந்த விதமான ஐயமும் இல்லை. ஆகவே மாணவ செல்வங்கள் இந்த வாய்ப்பை பயன்படுத்தி கொண்டு பயனடையுமாறு கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன். மேலும் நான் இன்றைய நமது மாணவர்களுக்கு தெரிவித்துக் கொள்வது என்னவென்றால், அகில இந்திய கட்டுநர் கழகம் கோவை மையமானது என்றென்றும் உங்களுக்கு துணையாக நிற்கும். அதாவது பில்டர்ஸ் அசோசியேஷன் ஆஃப் இந்தியா என்பது அகில இந்திய அளவில் விரிவடைந்து உள்ள ஒரு சங்கம். இந்தியாவின் ஒவ்வொரு மூலையிலும், ஒவ்வொரு நகரங்களிலும் இந்த சங்கமானது உள்ளது. அகில இந்திய அளவில் நமது சிவில் துறையில் உள்ள, கட்டுமான துறையில் உள்ள பிரச்சனைகளை மாநில அரசுகளுக்கும் மத்திய அரசுகளுக்கும் எடுத்து சொல்வது. அதே போல அந்த மாநில அரசுகள், மத்திய அரசுகள் நம்ம சிவில் துறை சார்ந்த உள்ள பிரச்சனைகளை நமது அகில இந்திய கட்டுநர் கழகத்தை கலந்தோசிக்காமல் அவர்கள் செய்வதில்லை. ஸோ அந்த குழுவில் நாமும் அங்கத்தினராக உள்ளோம். ஆகவே அவ்வளவு பெருமை வாய்ந்த இந்த கட்டுநர் கழகம் மாணவர்களுக்கு என்றென்றும் உதவுவதற்கு கடமைப்பட்டுள்ளது. நாங்களும் மிக்க ஆர்வமாக உள்ளோம். ஆகவே எங்களை நீங்கள் தாராளமாக எப்பொழுதும் அணுகலாம், எங்களை நீங்கள் பயன்படுத்திக் கொள்ளலாம் என்பதை இந்த நேரத்தில் உங்களுக்கு தெரிவித்துக் கொண்டு, இன்றைய தலைப்பானது சாஃப்ட்வேர் அப்ளிகேஷன் இன் சிவில் இன்ஜினியரிங் என்ற தலைப்பில் திரு விமல் அவர்கள் தங்களுக்கு உரையாற்ற உள்ளார்கள். தங்கள் அனைவரும் பயனடையுமாறு கேட்டுக்கொண்டு மற்ற நிகழ்வுகளை டாக்டர் கார்த்தி அவர்களை தொடருமாறு அன்புடன் கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி.
மிக்க நன்றி தலைவர், கோவை கட்டுமான சங்கத்தை தலைவர் இன்ஜினியர் பன்னீர்செல்வம் சார். குட் ஈவினிங் dear students. On behalf of Builders Association of India Coimbatore chapter, we welcome you all for the second day training program of the 15-day virtual internship program. The speaker for today is Mr. Vimal from USAM CAD Soft. He is manager for CAD support and training. He has been working in CAD industry for the past 20 years, and he have an expertise in CAD and BIM programs. Not taking much more of the time, I'm handling over the session to Engineer Vimal. Sir, please, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. நீங்க ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேர் பண்ணி presentation.
Yes, sir.
Sir, connect ஆதா sir, Vimal sir?
Sir, connect ஆச்சுங்களா?
இல்ல ஸ்கிரீன் டிஸ்ப்ளே எனக்கு வரல. இப்போ வருது சார். ஓகே. ஓகே சார்.
So good evening, everyone. So first of all, my sincere thanks to Builders Association of India for giving us this opportunity. First, I would like to thank Mr. Karthi once again for giving us, helping us through this presentation and also supporting us in doing this. And my name is Vimal. I'm the manager for CAD support and training. So I'm not going to take a lot of time on the introductions. As we know, the topic for today is software application in civil engineering. And we are going to look at it in the form of architecture, engineering, and construction industry. So we call it as the AEC industry. So let's quickly jump into the session. So a small intro about my company. My company is USAM Catsoft. We have been in this industry for almost 30 years. We are branched out in Coimbatore, Chennai, Tirupur, Trichy, Cochin, Hyderabad, and Bhubaneswar. So the 4 areas where we work is on, especially on the CAD industry, are the hardware, the software, the engineering services, and on the very important part is the training. So we work on all the 4 aspects of the CAD industry. So let me explain what we do in each of these areas. On the hardware front, we are the authorized dealers of HP, Epson, and we are also the authorized service centers for Epson here. So next is on the Autodesk front. On the Autodesk front, we are the gold partners for Autodesk. We take care of the sales of the softwares for manufacturing segment, the architecture, engineering, and construction segment. We call it as the AEC segment, and the other platform technologies like AutoCAD, and 3ds Max and Vault and all. On top of it, we are also the authorized resellers for SketchUp, and where we have 2 beautiful softwares called the SketchUp Pro and SketchUp Studio. So we'll be looking at all these softwares here during our presentation. So next part is on the training front. So on the training front, we are the authorized training center of Autodesk, and not only that, we are also a certification center for Autodesk. So we do the certification programs for AutoCAD, Revit, and all other Autodesk products. And on SketchUp, we are the authorized training center for SketchUp and for Vray. Vray is again another software which is used in the industry, which we'll be looking at in the presentation. So Vray also, we are the authorized training center here. And we also take other courses like CivilCAD graphics, the Photoshop, and 3ds Max. On the engineering services front, we do plotting and ammonia print. That is, we do print the large format. We do have the large format printers by which we take printouts of the civil and architectural drawings. And not only that, the construction drawings, the approval drawings, or the submission plans that we have. We do that, and we also do the blueprinting or the ammonia printing, as we call it. So we do also help out different architects and engineers by helping them by doing their 3D modeling, the rendering images, the walkthroughs and all. And we do have these scanners and copiers from A4 to A0 size. So that's both in color and black and white we'll be able to do. And we also have a personalized t-shirt printing segment in our firm, which is latest addition to our app here. So on the accreditation front, all for Autodesk, we are the authorized certification center, and not only that, we are the authorized resellers and the authorized training center. On the SketchUp front, we are the authorized resellers and the authorized training center. And on Epson, we are the accredited partner for Epson. That is on the hardware front. So the Autodesk and SketchUp is on the software area, and the Epson is on the hardware front. So if you ask me, like, why USAM for CAD or BIM? So we have been in this industry for almost 30 years. So we are accredited as value-added reseller or the training center, the certification center for both Autodesk and SketchUp and Vray. So we do cover all segments of architecture and engineering, not just civil and architecture or structural. We do cover mechanical and electrical and all other areas also. So we have our office placed at Gandhipuram in Coimbatore. So, and most of our instructors here are certified by the Autodesk, the SketchUp, and the Vray, the principals. So the software, we do give the software installation guidance for the students who come to us and who come to us for their help. So we do support them on the software installations. Now let's go into this event. So what is CAD? Most of you have been asking, like you'll be knowing that what CAD is. But once again, let me ask you, what is CAD? So if you have a if you have So if you look at it, most of you know what CAD is. You will be saying, okay, it's a 2D software or it's a 3D software or something like that. Now, let me just quickly go through the things. So CAD or computer-aided design is a software that is used to create designs, especially by the engineers, architects, and the construction managers. So it's mainly used in our industry to, prepare plans, sections, and elevations. And coming to the next question here. So is CAD 2D or 3D? So if you ask me like what CAD is, most of you would be thinking, okay, CAD in AutoCAD, you'll be able to do only the 2D part, or no, it's only the 3D part. No, actually, that is a misconception actually. CAD is not just a 2D tool, it has both 2D drawing or drafting as well as 3D modeling. So you will be able to do both. For example, engineer might be working on the 2D detailing and drawings, whereas an architect who wants to show that in 3D or something like that, he might be working on the 3D platform of it. It basically depends on what type of software they're using or what package they are going to use. So it varies from 2D and 3D. So okay, so you might have enjoyed the small short video. So what do you think of AutoCAD? Like what is CAD? Is it just a 2D software or is it 3D software? Now you know that in CAD I'll be able to do the 2D, 3D, and not only that, I'll be able to share it across and all. So let's just quickly go into the next part here. So why CAD is used in the construction industry? Okay, so there are a couple of points which I have listed out. So the first thing is it has a higher degree of accuracy and more precise technical drawings you'll be able to prepare from this, and you'll be able to do beautiful drawings out of this. And not only that, you can easily modify and alter the existing drawings whenever the changes or revisions comes up. And you will be able to export your CAD drawing to another platform so that you will be able to build the 3D part or get the image outputs or do other things there. And not only that, your basic CAD drawings can be sent across to different teams, like from the architect's drawing, it can be taken and used by the structural engineers, and the structural engineers' drawings and the architect's drawings can be together pushed across to the different teams, like the HVAC team or the electrical and plumbing team, which is working along with them. So it's like you can communicate with multidisciplinary teams with AutoCAD. And it's not only that, you will be designing the physical objects in a virtual space. See, earlier, people used to do a lot of prototypes and all in manufacturing to build, and they test it out, and then when it fails, they rebuild another prototype and do it. Now, in building industry, we will not be able to do that. I cannot prepare a prototype of my building and say, no, it's not working, so I can demolish it, and I cannot go and build another building there. So what we are doing here with CAD is we are actually building it out in virtual space. So that's the best part of CAD, and it's very easier to document it. You'll be able to document it in an easier way. And now the latest trend is you'll be able to collaborate it with cloud. So that is, you can send your drawings or you can put it across in the cloud platform, and you can share it with your team and with other people who are working along with you on that particular project. Now, this is about CAD. Now, moving ahead, there is another concept which is called as BIM, or building information modeling. Most of you might have heard about the concept. Now, what is BIM? So BIM is basically a process. Okay, BIM is basically a process, and it's not a software. Most of you, most of the people whom I have met are thinking that BIM is kind of a software or something. No, but BIM is basically a process which gives you the insight to plan, design, or construct more efficiently and to build more beautiful buildings and efficient buildings and infrastructure. So that is BIM. And BIM basically, it starts from the early stages of design, that is from the conceptual design, it moves into the detailed design. And in the analysis also, you'll be using BIM tools. And then on the documentation front and on the shop front, or maybe on the construction segment, where you can schedule it. And not only that, even after the construction, you'll be able to use BIM for operation and maintenance. That is the facility management. We call it as the facility management. And in later cases, on the demolition segment or on the renovation segment also, you can use it. On the demolition while demolishing or renovating also, you can use BIM. So this is about building information modeling. Now, in building information modeling, in AutoCAD, we say it is a 2D and 3D software. Now, what type of D is there in building information modeling or in BIM? Or can we say it's a 2D, or can we say it's 3D, or what it is? So if you ask me, I would put it in this way. BIM, it has 3D modeling, where we'll be doing the basic 3D models with the animations, renderings, the basic survey features and everything. The surveyed model, then the 3D modeling, and all these things comes in the 3D part. Now, not only just it stops with the 3D, it goes next into something called as 4D, where we have the project scheduling, the project phasing, and the lean scheduling, that's planning how quickly we can complete the building construction and all these things. So this also comes within BIM. It's a part of BIM process, and it's called as the fourth dimension, where the time is the essence of it. And then the 5D, we call it as the cost or the estimation, where we can get the quantity, extract the quantities and the cost for them. And then we can also find out what the quantities, exact quantities and the exact costing for each phases of the project. So this is the 5D or the 5th D of BIM, which is called as estimating or the cost. And then we have the 6th D, which is called as the sustainability, where we can do the energy analysis, the green building analysis, the LEED analysis kind of things. So that is the 6th dimension of BIM. And then we have the 7th dimension of BIM, which is called as the facility management, where you'll be able to take a building from the existing building. You can, if you're going in for some renovation projects, you can take that existing building, build it up, and then in your virtual space, demolish some part, remodel it, and then if that is okay, then go and implement that on site. And not only that, you can use that BIM in a different level. Now, how BIM and CAD are different. So I have told you a short introduction about what CAD is and what BIM is. Now, how do you differentiate between a BIM and a CAD? So if you ask me, CAD is basically a drawing, designing, or modeling tool. Okay. And in CAD, you can create or prepare detailed documents. You'll be able to prepare documents and detailed documents. Whereas BIM, it's basically a platform which has all the informations about your model. It has all the informations of the model, and not only that, it uses that information to not just show the 3D alone. It uses it in a different way, where you can schedule it, where you can take the cost and other features from that. And it also helps in multidisciplinary coordination. That is, if my project is a very big project, and let's say I'm working on a multiplex, I'm building a multiplex here, and so what I do is I get the plan, and then I start implementing my structural elements into it, Then I take it into, or I give it to an MEP consultant who does the HVAC, the centralized AC systems, the electrical, the plumbing, piping, and all. So if people are going to use different types of drawings or different drawings, then it's going to be a problem. So what BIM does here is it works on a single model, and that model can be shared across the different disciplines, like the architects, the structural consultants, the engineers, the contractors, the MEP consultants, and all the people who are involved in my project or that particular project will be working on the same model. And any changes anytime will be updated easily. And not only that, BIM helps you to take get the estimations and the costings and the quantity takeoffs, the total takeoffs or the quantity takeoffs and the estimations. So using BIM, what really happens is it reduces a lot of time, and it increases the accuracy of your projects. And I'll just show a short video on what BIM is, because me explaining about BIM is something what you have heard. There is a short video which shows you like what BIM can do and how it works in this industry. Hope you people had an idea of what BIM is. Were you able to hear the audio of this particular video, which was playing right now? I'm sorry. I think there is some technical. a technical problem here because we're not able to get the audios. Hello.
Sir, normally the sound on the system and lab two different learning login பண்ணி present பண்ணீங்கன்னா sound வரும் sir.
Okay.
ரெண்டு சேமா இருக்கும்போது ஒரே லாகின் கம் வித் பிரசன்டேஷன் ஒரே சிஸ்டமா இருக்கும்போது அதோட ஆடியோ வராது சார்.
ஓ சாரி.
நீங்க லேப்புக்கு பின்னாடி நீங்க என்ன வாய்ஸ் கொடுக்குறீங்களோ அதான் வரும் சார்.
ஓகே ஓகே ஓகே
ஓகே.
So, okay, let me just tell you what actually happened in that video. Like, whatever we were seeing earlier, the video actually compiled everything together. That is, you'll be able to design or model the basic architecture model or the basic structural model, and then take it into different engineering sectors or different disciplines like the HVAC or the HVAC or mechanical sector of building services, the electrical sector of building services, and the plumbing sector. So, and you'll be able to collaborate and work on it. And not only that, it starts from the early designs to the construction, and on the analysis, the construction, and later on the facility management level. Now, let me just quickly go into the different software solutions offered by us. So on the 2D front, we do have Autodesk AutoCAD. On the 3D front, we have softwares like Revit, Architecture, 3ds Max, the Sketchup, and the Vray. And on the BIM segment, we have again the Revit architecture comes into BIM. Plus, we have Revit structures, the Revit MEP, and format. And there is one more segment which is called as the 4D simulations, where we use Navisworks for that. And on the analysis front, we have Insight, which is especially for green building analysis, and robot structural analysis for structural and stability analysis. And on the steel detailing front, we have Autodesk Advanced Steel, and there are a lot of other softwares which is actually here, which I have not mentioned. And these are the different packages what we are going to look in detail, and we are going to see how this is going to work in industry and what software is used in which way. Like all these things, we are going to have a look into all these things. So let me just quickly go again into the 2D drawings. Now, we understood what CAD is and what BIM is. So CAD is basically a computer design or drafting sector, where we'll be able to do the 2D and 3D CAD models. Whereas BIM is more intelligent model, which has the informations, and not only that, it uses that information to coordinate and work with different disciplines of people or different disciplines of team. Now, coming into this 2D. So what are 2D drawings? 2D drawings are just a process of creating or editing your technical drawings. And these are essentials for any architectural and engineering drawings. So these drawings are mainly used for our construction. So, the construction detail drawings, the centerline drawings, and all these things are basically in 2D format. So, and we use them for the construction purposes. And the software which we use for that is AutoCAD. So, what is AutoCAD? So if you ask me, AutoCAD is a powerful 2D software, by which I'll be able to do all my 2D drawings, and it is mainly used on the drafting and detailing front. It is very easy to edit or do changes, in your 2D drawings by using AutoCAD. Whenever there is a change, whenever the client says that they want to change in their plan or they want to change something, so you can easily edit and update that with AutoCAD in the 2D drawings. And now you can work with AutoCAD, work from anywhere with AutoCAD, because the AutoCAD has something called as AutoCAD Web, and you'll be able to use this and work while you're traveling. And not only that, you can share your drawings on the cloud platforms, and then to different clients or to the consultants, you can share it across to them so that they can also comment on it, view the drawings, they can give their comments and all. So this is what happens with AutoCAD. AutoCAD is a complete solution for your 2D drawings or the drafting and detailing purposes. Now, AutoCAD, you know AutoCAD, and my question now is, what is AutoCAD used for? So what do we use AutoCAD for? To generate different plans, like the scheme plans, we have the section elevations, we have the approval drawings or the submission drawings, the structural drawings, then the electrical wiring drawings or the layout drawings, electrical layout drawings. Then we have the plumbing drawings, the FMB drawings or the field measure boundary or field measure book drawings, and the contour drawings, the interior drawings. So these are different drawings, and that we can actually work in AutoCAD. Now, who uses AutoCAD? Who uses all these things, or where it is used? So if you ask me that, first thing is architects use this, then the structural engineers, the surveyors, especially on the FMB, the contour, the interior designers for their interior layouts, interior floor plan layouts, or the ceiling layouts, and their elevation drawings. The land developers, they use the FMB drawings to develop the land, to divide it into plots and all. So the real estate developers and the public sector. Now, these are some of the examples. What you see here, these are the scheme plans and the sections and elevations, so which is done in AutoCAD. So you can see I have a plan of, a ground floor plan and a first floor plan, and I have taken a couple of sections from that, and I also have done an elevation for it. So in a submission drawing or an approval drawing, where we give the floor plans, then the site plan, then the elevations and sections, and we also give a location map and give all the details so that the government approves for this particular project. And then, so this is a submission drawing or an approval drawing, as we call it. Now, on the structural segment, we can do both the RCC detailing and the steel detailing. So the RCC detailing is like you have the columns, beams, and all. The reinforcement and rebar details can be done in that. And on the steel detailing, we can do the connections, joint connections, and how it is connected, how it is welded, what is the number of rivets, or how is the plate which we have put in that, what is the size of that. You can give in the details, or you can say what type of columns or beams or frames that you are using in that. So you can mention them and do a detailing on that. So these drawings can be used, and not only that, you also work with electrical wiring drawings. So these wiring drawings show us the different wires going from the plug points, or from the switch boxes or from the junctions to different elements like the fan, the lighting switches, the switch boxes, and everywhere. So this basically is a wiring drawing where it shows how it has been distributed and how it's. Yes. Sorry, pardon me, I didn't get you.
Please, can you pin the speaker's ID so that you can able to see his presentation without any disturbance? In the screen itself, you have a pin icon. So you can pin whenever you have pin it. Anyone is disturbing means, or it will not disturb. The speaker's screen will always be visible in the screen. Okay, sir, you can proceed, sir.
Yeah. So thank you. So now this is an electrical wiring drawing where we are able to see that the wires going from different switch boxes to different the lighting and the power equipments in our residential building. Now this is a plumbing layout where you can see that there are a couple of lines, two different type of lines which is running. One is the blue color and the red color. So the blue ones are the cold water supply lines, and the red ones are the hot water supply lines. And for a toilet or for some areas where we want the plumbing pipes to be running, or where we have the pipes, we'll be doing these drawings so that we know how the pipes are taken to the through our building. So next is our FME drawings. This is a field measure. This is a drawing from the field measurement book. You take the field measurement book from there, you are taking the data from there, and then you start creating these drawings by which you get the exact areas of the land and the exact dimensions of the plot or the layout. And then you can subdivide them into different divisions, and then you can get the areas for each segments also. So this is mainly used to prepare, the layouts, different site layouts or plot layouts were, done by the land developers or the real estate developers. They use these FME drawings in the initial level to develop their projects. So then comes the contour maps. So the contour maps are nothing but you people know in surveying, we know there are contour lines and we know what contour lines are. So contour lines are basically the lines connecting different elevations. So this actually helps us to understand how the site is having different undulations and how we have different ups and downs on the site, and where I should be leveling it, where I should be cutting it, where I should be filling it. So based on these drawings, I'll be able to generate my cutting and filling areas, and I'll be able to do a basic quantification of that. So this also helps in for the surveyors and for the survey drawings. And next comes the interior drawings. The interior drawings where where the interior elevations, the layouts, the different wall elevations are all created, and I know how my equipments or the elements are placed on the wall face, or how it is placed on the floor, or where it is placed. So arranging them and utilizing the space for each and every room. So this is what the interior designers basically do. They develop these drawings, and all these drawings are done with AutoCAD. Now, moving into the next, we have something called as the 3D modeling. So on the 3D modeling front, so what is 3D modeling? So 2D drawings, we saw different 2D drawings like the scheme plans, the sections, elevations, and all other things. Now, what is a 3D model? So 3D modeling is actually a process of creating a representation, a digital representation of any object. So it's basically created by extruding or push pulling the object for some height, and then later on editing them into different shapes. And the best part is, from a 3D model, you'll be able to prepare realistic images by the process called as rendering. And we can also add different animations to the models. And not only that, we can actually move into the model and see how each elements are placed within that particular model. And mostly these 3D models are used in media, entertainment, and engineering industries. So what are the softwares that can be used for 3D modeling? So from our side, I would say Revit Architecture is one of the softwares which can be used on the basic 3D modeling. The next comes 3ds Max. Then you have Sketchup, and then we have a software called as Vray. So now let's go and see what each software will be doing and how it is used. Now let's move into that. Revit Architecture. Okay. So Revit Architecture is basically built for BIM, and it's a BIM software, I would say. It's a software which comes under the process of BIM. So Revit has something called as a parametric modeling, where all your models, all your projects, maybe your residential building or any model that you're working, is 100% parametric. That is, whenever you change any dimension, it automatically reflects on the plan, the section, elevation, and the entire model is updated to the new dimensions, and it changes immediately. So that is the parametric modeling tool. Hello. So was there a question? Okay. So next is Revit has something called as bidirectional associativity inbuilt with it. So the bidirectional associativity means whenever I change anything in a plan, it automatically reflects in the sections, the elevations, the 3D views, and not only that, it also reflects in the quantities and on your drawing sheets everywhere. So the changes done in one part is automatically reflected in all other parts. So, and it's bidirectional. If I change something in my drawing sheet, it updates in my model, or if I change something in my model, it updates in my drawing sheet. So that is bidirectional associativity. So this architecture model, what you can do is you can coordinate it with different consultants. That's the different discipline people, like the structural and the MEP. And Revit architecture is from the concept to construction and beyond. You can use that. So who uses Revit architecture? So we have seen Revit architecture, and I told you that it has different features in that. And who can use Revit architecture? So the first and foremost is the architects, then the landscape architects, and the interior designers. So because Revit architecture is basically on the 3D front, so the architects, the landscape architects, and the interior designers, they use it for that. And how they use it is, they use it to prepare the working drawings, the conceptual drawings, the presentation plans, the elevations and sections, the detailed architecture models, 3D detailing, and to get the quantity and estimation, and to give some basic visualizations, and to collaborate it with different stakeholders or different discipline engineers. So this is a working drawing which is done in Revit. So it has all the details of your, all the dimensional details, by which we'll be able to take it and implement that in the site. So this is kind of a presentation drawing which you'll be able to use it and do more presentations. You can pull this into another presentation and you can use that and showcase it to your client. So these are some of the elevations and sections that you'll be able to get from Revit. And these elevations, these elevations and sections can be more detailed. Elevation and section also can be done with all the dimension and all the properties mentioned in there. And this is a detailed drawing, what you will be able to generate or what you can do with Revit. So this is basically the wall section details. You can see that the wall and the floor, the wall and the roof, how it has been connected, and what are the different details we are going to use in that. So the same details can also be put into your 3D models also, and you will be able to see that in 3D modeling also, so that it's easy to convey how the construction has to happen or how this detailing has to be. For the people who don't really understand the 2D drawings, when they look at this 3D detailing, so it will be easy for them to understand and execute that on the site. So for that, we can prepare the 3D detailing also. And you can also get the quantities like the door schedules, the window schedules, and not only that, you'll also be able to get the furniture schedules. Now on the visualization, yes, you'll be able to do a basic visualization of exteriors, the interiors, or the conceptual views. So you can get the all these type of visualizations directly from Revit. Now moving into the next, we have 3ds Max. 3ds Max is basically a rendering software, which is used for modeling, animation, and visualization. It is used to create, design visualizations. And you can also create walkthroughs, animations. So, and not only that, with 3ds Max, you can also prepare VR videos or VR experiences. Now, who uses how 3ds Max is used? So it's used on 3D modeling front. It's used for 3D rendering and for animation. And who uses this? So we have the game developers, the character modelers, the film animators, the 3D visualizers, the advertising agencies, the architects, and the product designers. So these people use 3ds Max to develop different images. For example, you can see that this is a basic 3D modeling. A character modeling can be done, or a furniture model can also be done with 3ds Max. Or if I want to do my interior modeling or my exterior modeling, yes, I'll be able to do my modeling with 3ds Max. And not only just modeling, I'll also be able to do a rendered outputs from 3ds Max. So I'll be able to do the interior rendering or the exterior rendering from 3ds Max. And I can also prepare a walkthrough. So you can see that this is a short video, and this video doesn't have any audio here, so don't worry about it. It just shows you, the walkthrough done with 3ds Max, and I'm just moving into my living room where I'll be able to see how the furnitures are placed, how my entertainment system is being put up. I just have the view around my room, and then I come out of my room. So this is a short video of a walkthrough. Now coming into the next, we have something called as Sketchup. Sketchup is basically a user-friendly 3D modeling software. It's like, I would like to say, you think in 3D and draw in 3D. That's how Sketchup works. So whatever is there, you can directly think, and you can model them in 3D. And you can also create and visualize your ideas. And in our industry, we use it to more do the more elevations and interior drawings here. So I'll just show you how SketchUp is used, or who SketchUp is used by whom. So SketchUp is mostly used by the architects, the kitchen and bath designers, the interior designers, the construction people, the engineers, the woodworking people, where they do the furniture designs and all. The landscape architects, the film and stage industry, they also use SketchUp, and the gaming, and for heavy civil and urban planning. So in all these areas, SketchUp has been used because it's basically a modeling software, and it's a very user-friendly software also. And what do they do with that? They do create conceptual models. Like if I want to design a pen, if I want to design a water bottle, so what I do is I just create my conceptual model, and then I can also do a detailed modeling. I can do some basic analysis like the sun and solar analysis, the sun and shadow studies. I can also prepare some basic construction draw documents from SketchUp. And with SketchUp, by adding additional plugins, I'll be able to get good photorealistic renderers. So this is a short video which explains how SketchUp can be used to prepare a quick, a classroom. If I want to design my classroom, I'm just starting to design the furniture first. So I say I want to place I have prepared a table. Now I'm designing a chair for that. So then I just quickly put it into a room, and then I just start organizing my things inside my classroom. So then I put a place where the teacher stands or the professor stands. You can see that. So if I want to reorganize the elements, I'll be able to reorganize them. I can cut the openings for those, and I can just put up some pin-up boards and all. I'm just adding some mullions and the openings in that. I can define materials here. And you can see that I have placed the ceiling, the false ceiling, and then I'm just placing that or orienting it according to my position so that I get the good shadows and good results from that. So this is a very short and quick video on what you can do with SketchUp. So this is a short video on what SketchUp can do and how you can use that. Coming to next, we have something called as Vray. Vray is basically a plugin software for 3ds Max, SketchUp, and for Revit. So Vray is used in different industries like film, the video game production, the industrial designs, and the architecture or the visualization areas. So who uses this? The architects, interior designers, the product designers, the video game production, the media and entertainment industry people use Vray. And how they use it is, they use it for photorealistic renderers and for product visualizations and environment renderings. I have a couple of renderings from which I can show you as examples. So you can prepare photorealistic renderings of exteriors, your building exteriors and your building interiors. And if you design a product, yes, you can do a good quality of presentation of your product by rendering it with Vray. And you can also have an environment rendering. You can define how the environment has to be, what type of lighting has to come into that. And you can put your model or your building model inside that environment and do a complete rendering of that. So Vray helps you in all these areas. Now, moving into the next, we have something called as building information modeling. So in building information modeling, since I have already told you what it is, I'm just quickly going into the type of or the different softwares which has been used in that. That's the Revit and the format. So let's quickly jump into Revit. So as we have already seen Revit architecture, I'm right now moving into something called as Revit structure. As we know, Revit structure is again a BIM-based software, and it's a parametric modeling tool, and it has bidirectional associativity. All these things I have explained earlier during my Revit architecture. Yes, but what I can do with Revit structure is I can integrate these structural models into my architectural models, or I can put it into my MEP models. I can get better documentation from them. Not just a 2D documentation, I'll also be able to prepare 3D documentations of my building. And Revit structure, if you ask me who uses Revit structure, so I would say the structural consultants, the structural engineers, and the draftsperson can use Revit structure. So Revit structure, how it is used or for what they use it? We use it to prepare detailed drawings. Not just the 2D detailed drawings, we also use it to prepare the 3D detailed drawings to get the quantities and estimation of for rebars or for the connections what we have placed. And we can also collaborate these models with the architecture model and with the MEP models. So if you see that these are some of the detailed models what you can actually do with Revit. So you can do the RCC detailing, and not only that, you'll also be able to do the structural detailing from Revit. And not just in 2D format, you'll also be doing the same things in 3D. So you can get the the details done in 3D, and so that it's easy to understand when you look at a 3D model rather than just viewing that in a 2D space. And you can also get the quantities. As you can see here, I have put up a couple of quantities which I have done earlier. So where I have taken the quantities of my structural framing and the connections in that. And another one is the rebar schedules. So I can take the schedule of my rebars, the type of rebars that I've used in my project, and I can get the quantities of them here. Now moving into the next, we have something called as Revit MEP. So Revit MEP is again a BIM software. It's a coordinated mechanical, electrical, and plumbing services module, I would say. So where I can design the HVAC or the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, the electrical, the plumbing and piping, fire protection system, all in one single platform. So and here I have again, it's a parametric modeling tool. So it has the bidirectional associativity, and I can integrate my MEP models with the structural and the architectural models. So, and again, I can get better documentation from them. So here you can see that these are a couple of images which shows how the MEP model looks. So where I have the ducts, the plumbing and piping services. So Revit MEP, if you ask me who uses Revit MEP, it can be used by HVAC consultants, the HVAC designers, the electrical consultants, the plumbing consultants, and the fire protection designers, and the draftsperson. So the people who are working in these type of industries like HVAC, electrical, plumbing, fire protection, and the people who work on the drafting segment of this, they can use Revit MEP, and they can use it to prepare their detailed drawings, the 3D models, the quantity and estimations, and to collaborate it with different disciplines. So these are the detailed drawings what you can actually get from a Revit MEP, working on HVAC separately, electrical, and then plumbing and piping, and fire protection again. So this would be the 3D detailing, where you can see how the ducts are going, where the pipes are going, how the electrical conduits are running. And you can take the quantities of them. You can take the quantities of your ducts, like what would be the size of the duct, what would be the length of the sheet that is required for it. And for the fabrication also, you can get the quantities where you can find out how many hangers I would need to run up, duct from one part of my building to another part of my building. So I can take the quantities for each and every element which I'm creating it here or which I'm modeling it here. So this is about Revit MEP, and moving into the next, we have something called as format. Okay, so how many of you have heard about format? So most of you will be thinking like format is something something out of the box, or it's not for us or something like that. But don't worry, format is basically a conceptual modeling tool, and it's BIM from day one. See, because whenever you start modeling something in format, it means you are starting to work with BIM, and you can do the sun and shadow effect, shadow effects on the building. So you can understand how my sun is going to affect my building, how the shadows are going to fall on the building. If I'm going to design a building and I know that there are nearby there are a couple of buildings there, and I want to understand how the shadows of them are going to affect my lighting. So then I can do it with format. And not only that, I can do a detailed energy analysis from the basic design, from the basic stages of my design. And I'll be able to integrate this conceptual model into my Revit model and then build it as a detailed model there. Or maybe I can move it into this next level of designing there. So this is a couple of screenshots like where it shows how your format looks like. So that is a short video which shows you how, who uses format. So format is mainly used by architects, the green building consultants, and the MEP consultants. As I told you, they will be using it for the energy analysis, the green building analysis, the sun and shadow studies and all. And it's mainly used for the conceptual modeling, the performance analysis, your building performance analysis, we call it. So we use it for that. And not only for that, we also use it for collaborating with different softwares like Revit and other softwares. So format actually has a lot of modeling techniques or modeling tools by which you can quickly design your conceptual models. So as I told you, it's a BIM from day one. So you can see how your model will be there when there are other models or other buildings along with it. Now you can take it into Revit, you can update the model there in Revit, and then bring it back into format, do the analysis, like you can understand how the heating and cooling loads performs, how the shadow will be affecting it. And you can do all these things directly. You can understand by changing some values, you can understand like how your building is going to perform on the large front. Now moving into the next, we have something called as a 4D simulation. The 4D simulation is where okay, so what is 4D simulation? So I've been talking about CAD, then I was talking about BIM, then I started talking about Revit, then 3ds Max and all. So now what is 4D simulation? So 4D simulation is basically a process of linking a digital model with your time schedule. So most of you might be working on the time schedule based softwares, or you might have been knowing about them also. So there are softwares or there are methods to generate your time schedules, the building timeline schedules. So you know that a couple of softwares are there in the industry to work on that. Now, what I can do is I can link my model, I can link my Revit model to these datas, and then I can understand like how my building is going to be constructed day by day. And I can prepare a visualization how my building is going to be constructed from the day one till the completion of my construction. And it also, what I can do with 4D simulation is I'll be able to identify clashes. When I say identifying clashes, let's look at a scenario here. Okay, let's say I'm constructing something. As I was telling you earlier, I'm constructing a multiplex. So I started my building. Now my MEP team has come in. They have started bringing in their ducts and the pipes and all. Suddenly the MEP team people, they come and tell me that, okay, there is a duct which is actually hitting my beam. Now, what would we do in that scenario during the stage of during that particular stage or during that construction phase? So what can I do? Can I just break the beam and take my duct through that? No, that cannot be possible because my structure will be losing its stability. So what are the other things that I can do? Can I bend the duct and take it in a different direction? No, that is also not possible because every design of your ducts and everything, the length and everything is calculated so that you get cold air or the hot air circulated throughout the building by these designs. So changing anything in that would reflect in that also. So if that is happening in real time, that would be a big problem, and that the duration of construction is going to extend. The cost will also be extending along with it. But when working with 4D simulation softwares, what we can do is we can identify all these clashes in virtual space even before my building is being built, and then I'll be able to and understand where where I get into these type of issues, how I have to rectify that, and I can do all that in the designing stage itself. And then once my designing stage is completed, and I can move into my execution phase where my building will be executed or it will be constructed without any disturbances. So 4D simulation really helps in identifying the clashes beforehand and then updating them on the design level itself. So it helps you in the delivery of your building time. So when you say, oh, I'm going to deliver this particular building in so much time, so you'll be able to do it in that particular time frame and without losing any quality, and you can also save a lot of cost. Because looking at the scenario which I was telling you earlier, if you face that particular scenario and you have to stop the construction for a couple of weeks or couple of months for the to redesign and restart that construction once again, the material cost and everything is going to go up, and it's going to directly affect the total cost of your building. So identifying the clashes and editing them or changing them beforehand before I build it is a good choice, and 4D simulation actually helps you on that stage. And the software used for that is called as Navisworks. So Navisworks is a part of Autodesk. So it comes with something called as Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection, so which I'll be talking later. So Navisworks is basically a project review software. When I say a project review software, what I will be doing with that is I'll be taking my models from the architect, from the structural consultant, from the MEP consultant, and I'll be putting it into my Navisworks sheet, where all the three models will be overlapped, and then I can find out how each model is going to work and where they are placed, how each elements are placed. I can review the integrated models, and I can get a better control on my project. So this is what the Navisworks actually does. And so you can see that this is a clash detection image which I have shown at the top, where you'll be able to see how I'm identifying a pipeline and the beam. They're hitting each other, so I need to know, or I have to move that beam or the pipeline. I cannot move the beam, maybe I have to move the pipeline down. And I can also add the timeline to my building models. I can say this part of the building is going to be constructed from day 1 to day 15. The next part is going to be constructed from day 15 to onwards to 30, like that, or maybe on different phasing. We call it as the phasing. So here, different phases can be updated to your models, and you can see how that helps you in real time. And you can also understand where we'll be facing difficulties, and you can rectify all these things before you go and execute the building on site. So who uses Navisworks? The Navisworks is basically used by the project managers, the architects, the structural consultants, and the MEP consultants. So project managers basically use this to coordinate with the different teams, different project teams which are working on the site. They understand like what work has to be done, and the next day which work has to be done. So they prepare a schedule for it, and they use these softwares to understand that. So how this is used? It's mostly used on the project collaboration, or as I told you earlier. So the model from the architect, the structural consultant, and the MEP consultant are collaborated together to form one single model, and I can do a review or clash detections from them. So I can understand how each element is functioning within my total building structure and how it is going to work with. And I can, when I identify any clashes, I know I can just create an RFIs for that, and I can send it across to the concerned team so that they can come in and do the changes that is required. And all these are done at the early design stages itself, or in the second stages of my designing. So when you look at designing will be happening something called as the pre-design stage, and the design stage, and the post-design stage, or before on the execution stage. So on the pre-design stage, it would be more of the 3D modeling and 3D work which has been done. On the designing stage is where we use more of the BIM and the Navisworks tools, so to collaborate with different people or with different disciplines and identify how each element or how each industry or how each discipline functions within my building structure. And finally, with the project manager's data, I'll be able to prepare the timeline and I'll be able to simulate it. So I know from if my client asks me like at what time this particular part of my building is going to be completed, I can just run the timeliner there, or I can move the timeliner and I can tell him like when which part would be completed. After 1 month, what stage would be my building? After 2 months, what would be the stage in which I would have completed my building structure? So each stages can be defined in this. So here I have a short video on how Navisworks works. So I'll just quickly explain like what is happening here. Here, let's say whether it is a a stadium that you're going to build or a park that you want to do. You can see that it's a closed stadium or a football stadium or a baseball stadium, or maybe you want to build a factory. Yes, everywhere you can use Navisworks, not just on stadiums and factories. On these kind of projects, you can use Navisworks for even for a smaller scale projects also, like identifying how the spaces would be, like how you can arrange elements in them, where each component comes in, how they are functioning. And not only that, I'll be able to use my Navisworks to prepare my models from day one. As I was telling you, so you can see that the timeline is running at the top left. You can see the date and time running, and you can see how the building model is also getting updated based on that dates. So Navisworks will actually show you how each stage of my project is coming up, and I can understand all these things. And not only that, what I'll be able to do is I'll also be able to see that in 3D. And all these actually started with something called as virtual design in construction. So virtual design is the forerunner of BIM. If you have heard about virtual design, it was early BIM. It was earlier called as VDC, or virtual design in construction. Now it is called as BIM. Now this is how we can work with Navisworks. We can get the sections of the model. I can just move into my model and see. I can get a realistic effect by placing myself on the floors and updating myself with gravity so that I move on the floors and I don't fly. So if there is a step, or I'll be able to walk on that step and see how it is. So it's you can feel the realistic effects of that, and not only that, you'll be able to do the dimensions. You can identify the dimensions. You can also do some markings, red lines, or you can also ask your team to, this is something called as the reviewing, where you can tell them to check the height of the ceiling, whether it's going to hit with this element, or it's above that element or below that element. And I can also do clash detections between my structural and my HVAC. So if I'm just selecting a couple of structural and HVAC elements, it shows me like how my column and the pipeline is actually, the HVAC circular duct is actually hitting that. And I can check with for different, clashes. And if both the clashes are all the same, I'll be able to group them and I can, work together on that particular thing. So you can see that I can group a couple of clashes. So you can see that both the clashes on the second floor and in the floor above that has been grouped together, and I can get a review for that. And not only that, I'll also be able to add the or see the timeliner of my building construction. So date wise, how my building is going to come. So I can add all these data, the Gantt chart or the Gantt views we call it. So we can get these data, and my entire model functions based on this data. So I know from day one to the end of the construction. So I know what is going to happen each day and how it is going to happen. And if I want, I can also simulate and see how this works. So if I move to some timeline, it will show me what level of my building will be completed at that stage. You can see that. And not only that, while using Navisworks, what you can do is you can also prepare some videos like that with this, so that you understand like what type of machineries are required and what is the quantities of the equipments that is required, these cement and things, the raw materials required, and how each part is going to be laid. And you can also use these videos to get some basic traffic diversions from the government side. You can get some approvals for the traffic diversions because of constructions happening here if it is necessary. So you can use these videos and explain it to them. So this is how the construction is going to happen, and this is going to happen from this date to this date. So I need a diversion there. And you can also see how each part of your building is getting updated here. And you can see how the installation of different equipments are happening. The MEP equipments are happening in this. And finally, you have the completed model here with all the interiors, the structural elements, the HVAC, the electrical, plumbing, piping, everything completely in this. So this is about Navisworks. Hope you people had a good idea of what Navisworks can do. So let's move into the next topics. This is called as analysis. So next comes the analysis part. So what is analysis? So if you ask me what is analysis, I would say it's a process of breaking a complex component into smaller parts and to understand it better, gain a better understanding. Okay. And the type of analysis, what we do is I broadly classify them into two types. One is the building performance analysis, and second one is the structural analysis and design. On building performance analysis, we use a software called as Insight, and for structural analysis, we use a software called as Robot Structural Analysis. So have you heard about a software called as Insight? So Insight is actually a software, or I would say it is a small tool which you can use to do the building performance analysis. So it's more on energy efficient, designing more on energy efficient buildings. So you can do a thermal energy simulation of your building with Insight. You can do daylighting and analysis. When I say daylighting and analysis, I can understand how much of light is going to come into my room, or how much of light is going to affect that particular space. And because of it, whether it's good or whether it's bad for me, or for the people who is going to occupy that space. So I can identify that and I can understand better, or I can organize my elements accordingly to that. Then we can also do a heating and cooling load analysis. The heating and cooling load analysis is basically an analysis which is done to understand the temperature within each room and to give the centralized AC systems or the ducts the amount of cold air or the hot air that is required. So in India, we do mostly use the cold air system, where we have the centralized AC system, which means we use a cold air running through all the parts of my building. And it's mechanically ventilated buildings, or it's a centralized AC ventilated buildings, we call it. And to understand for each room, what would be the amount of cold air that is required to maintain the temperature within that room, we do this heating and cooling load analysis. So, and these all these things can also be integrated with your Revit. That is, you can directly do the lighting analysis in Revit, the daylighting analysis on the Revit model within your Revit platform, or you can also take it and pull it out, and you can also do it separately. So your results and all, you can, it will be on the cloud. You can directly open the cloud platform, the Insight Cloud platform, where you can just change the values and see how, it's going to affect the overall performance of your building. When I say building performance, it means what would be the carbon emission, what would be the total cost which is going to be incurred in cooling my building or heating my building, or what would be the amount of energy that is required from morning till evening. That's energy in the sense I'm talking about the electrical energy that is required to use for lighting and for heating and cooling of my spaces. So you can understand all these things with Insight. And Insight, it's used by architects and MEP consultants. So these are the two areas where Insight would be mostly used, and they use it to prepare the carbon emission reports, the thermal energy simulations, calculate how the daylights is going to affect each and every part of my building, to do a complete solar study. If on one particular day, if the sun is placed at some particular time, how that is going to affect my building, and how the shadows are going to affect, and how that will be affecting my heating and cooling. So all these kind of studies, I'll be able to do it with to do it with Insight. So the next part is the robot structural analysis, where we do the structural analysis. It's basically for the simulation design and analysis of your structures. So you can use it for any type of structures. Maybe it's for the any type of structures. You can do the analysis with robot structures. And now the best part is it has a lot of different country codes which has been incorporated within robot structure. Earlier there were not much of country codes available, but now we have a lot of country codes which is available, and we also have Indian country codes updated with robot structural analysis. And this actually complements with your BIM. So, and what you can do is you can coordinate this digital analysis and design with your BIM models. That is, you can pull the model from Revit into robot, do the structural and the design and analysis here. And then the results, you can take it back to Revit. You can do the modeling, remodel it again there, and you can do the documentation and detailing there for that. And you have other softwares where you can do the documentation and detailing also. So robot structural analysis is basically it's mainly used for analysis and designing of your structures. So you can see that you can do the different type of loading analysis and all. And you can also see the wind load analysis done on that lower image. So who uses robot structural analysis? It's basically used by the structural designers and the structural engineers. So, and it is used to do analysis, the wind load simulations, non-linear static analysis. So these are some of the results what you will be getting. So you can get the different results, like you would have studied about the shear force, the bending moment and all on the day one, and now you would have gone into the different level of analysis. Since you people are in the fourth year, you'll be knowing about the different types of analysis which we do. And we'll be able to take the different results from different types of analysis within robot structure, and you can use it to create or build better buildings with them. Now on the documentation front, we have a software called as Advanced Steel. So Advanced Steel is a software where what you can do is you can use it for 3D modeling and detailing, especially on the steel structures. Okay, so you can automatically generate fabrication drawings, detailed drawings. You can generate bill of materials. You can generate the numeric control files by which you can take your models and you can cut it and get them cut from the CNC people. And you'll be able to do a complete steel structures here, all the PEBs here. So advanced steel is basically used by the structural engineers and the draftspersons. So it's used to build the detailed drawings, the fabrication drawings, get the bill of materials and the NC files. So you can see that this is an just a slide which shows you how different things are there. The 3D model, the detailed 2D model, the quantities of that, and how you can work with that. Now I would divide my AEC design space. See, I have talked about different softwares. I was talking about different softwares and different concepts and different technologies. Now I would like to take this design space, that is the architecture, engineering, and construction design space, and I'm going to divide that into 4 segments. So the first segment is going to be called as a design, and second is the visualization part, and third is the documentation, and then fourth is the collaboration. Now we have seen different softwares. Okay. Now let me tell you how each software is going to work and where or under which particular segment I'm going to use each software. So the first software what we saw today was AutoCAD. Now where do I use AutoCAD? Do I use it on the design? Do I use it on the visualization or documentation or collaboration? If you ask me, AutoCAD is basically used on the documentation front. Now the second software what we saw on the today was Revit. Okay, so where can I use Revit? Is it used on design and visualization or design and collaboration? So where do I use Revit? Revit is basically used on the design, documentation, visualization, and collaboration. It's partly into design and collaboration. Sorry, visualization and collaboration. It's more of design and documentation tool where you can do the designs and you can get the documentations done quickly from Revit. So the next software what we saw was 3ds Max. So 3ds Max is basically used on the visualization front to prepare realistic views or rendered images, different 3D models and rendered images can be done with visualization and 3ds Max. And the next is Sketchup. Sketchup is basically into design and visualization, where it's mostly used on the design sector. By using additional plugins, we can use it on the visualization front. The next was we saw about a software called as Vray. If you ask me where you can use Vray, Vray can be used on the visualization front. And it's mostly used for generating images, photorealistic images and renders. The next is Format. Format is basically a design software which where I do the basic conceptual design, conceptual model, do an analysis on that, and then take my model into Revit and do the design and documentation, the second stage of design and documentation there. Now the next one was we saw about Naviswork. Naviswork is basically used on the collaboration front, where I can coordinate and collaborate all the models which I have done with Revit, the format and all. I can pull all the models into Naviswork and understand how my construction is going to happen from day 1 onwards. So day by day, I can see how each construction is going to happen or how things are going to happen on the industry or on the field. And this next one is Insight. Insight is mostly used on the building performance analysis and design. So I put it under the design category. So it's mostly on the design layer stages that we use the Insight. Next is we had the software called as Robot Analysis. It's again a design and analysis software. So it's for structural design and structural analysis. So I put it under the design category. Now from Robot, what I can do is I can create a model in Revit. I can take it into Robot, do the analysis and design, and then get the data, take it back into Revit, do the documentation, detailing, and I can do it. There was another software called as Advanced Steel, where if I have my steel structures, then I can take it into Advanced Steel and do the documentation and modeling there. So by doing this, I'll be able to get my detailed quantity estimations, and not only that, my fabrication drawings and the other things from Advanced Steel. So this is how I categorize the design space, and these are the some of the softwares which we have seen for the past 1 hour or so. Now, so in Autodesk, we have something called as the Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection. So it's a bundled pack of all the softwares which we have seen today, except the leaving out the Sketchup and Vray, because Sketchup and Vray are different company products. So here in Autodesk, we have the Revit, the Navisworks, the format inside, the structural analysis, the 3ds Max, AutoCAD, everything included within this particular collection. And the cost of this particular collection is somewhere around 1,15,000. So if you purchase each software separately, that would be almost like 6 to 8 times the cost of all these put together. Okay, so this is one of the things you can actually use this software also. This entire softwares are also free for students, and students can actually download them and through their login IDs, their college login IDs, and they can use it, because Autodesk is giving it out free so that students can understand these softwares, and they can use it in the industry to help them more. So in case if you people need any help on downloading these softwares or installing them in your things, we are there to as I told you earlier, we are there to help you out on that, getting the free softwares for you. So if you ask me like where to learn CAD, because you people are from in the industry or coming into the industry, if you want to learn CAD or BIM, if you ask me where to learn CAD or BIM, I would say you have to learn CAD or BIM from an authorized training center, which uses the licensed softwares, proper licensed softwares, who provides proper authorized certificates, and they have a dedicated or certified instructors with them, a training center which provides an industry-based training. And you also have to have a training center which gives you an end-to-end solutions, not just teach you something. You need to get a training center where they teach you end-to-end solutions, and which has a very good infrastructure, so that it's better for you to learn in a very good environment. And the training center which uses the recommended softwares by the principals like Autodesk or Sketchup or Vray, and who are very flexible with the instructional techniques. Like, they don't stick to something which is routine. They teach you with what you can understand and help you out on that. So I'm open for your questions, and I'll be taking up your questions now. So if in case you have any questions, you can put it up now, so I'll be able to answer it out.
Thank you, sir. Many participants have posted their questions in chat when you're discussing some topics.
Yes, sir, sure. So I'll just move into that chat section, and I'll be starting to answer them, sir. So in case they want to ask me, also they can ask me, like, so that I can.
So that will be good, sir. I request the participants, those who have any queries, can discuss now. The floor is open for discussion now. Some students like Ravi Raghu, Shakti Ganesh, they are discussed in the box. They can open your here.
So I'll just quickly move into my Dutch. So I'm just moving into the chat. I'm just going through the chat.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So in case if anyone wants to ask me a question directly, yes, I'm open for it. I'll be able to answer your questions.
Hello, sir. I'm Shakti Ganesh.
Yes, yes, Shakti.
Sir, what about that GIS software, sir, like ArcGIS and QGIS, and what are the scopes of learning that software, sir?
Yeah, actually, there are a couple of softwares which I have not mentioned in my slide. There are softwares like Civil 3D and InfraWorks from Autodesk Front, which is mostly used on the GIS areas and for infrastructure development. So, if you look at the GIS industry, it's mostly on the infrastructure development where the more of GIS softwares are required. And for that, we have a very good software called as InfraWorks and Civil 3D. If in case you want to have a look into these softwares, maybe you can get in touch with us so that we can give you a demo on that specifically, because there are a lot of other features to work with, taking your data, the data from the Google Earth model, and then utilizing them and how to work with them, how to build your road networks, how to build your bridges, and how to give the how to understand how the vehicles will be running on it. There are a lot of softwares in GIS with Autodesk itself, which I have not mentioned on today's thing because I wanted to concentrate more on the CAD and the basic CAD and the BIM. So we have not moved into that. And sorry about that. If in case you want to know about this, yes, we are open for that, and you can get in touch with us on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, one student, that is Logesh, has asked, instead of using Vray software, can you use Lumion software for rendering?
See, I would say Lumion is a rendering tool, yes, but Vray is more better when it comes into more realistic, realistic images or more realistic outputs that you want. Lumion does have good, good rendering outputs, especially for images. If in case not for images, for some small videos that you want to do present, yes, Lumion is good. But if you look at very photorealistic images that you want to do, I would prefer to go with Vray, because Lumion is more like a gaming software, and it takes up a lot of game. It uses a lot of game environments and things like that. And most of your outputs, would be typical to that, and not like your Vray output. And Vray basically uses an algorithm called, the different lighting and shadow algorithms, which helps in getting better results when compared with the other rendering softwares. Okay, someone has asked me, like, what is the full form of FMB? FMB is basically the field measured boundary. Yes, that it's a field measurement book. It's been answered already.
So, dear students, if there is no more questions, we can close the session. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vimal, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And before ending, I would like to thank Mr. Paniselvam, sir, and Mr. Karthi, sir, for giving us this opportunity to do this presentation. And thank you, students, for joining us on this session. And in case of any queries or anything, you can get in touch with us. And so I'll just put up my...
Professor G.S. Venkata Subramani of Advisor of Builders Association of India has joined now, sir. Actually, he only invited Satyanarayan, sir, from your office to depute you for the today's session.
Okay, sir.
And GSV, sir, also has joined now. Thank you, sir.
So thank you, sir. Thank you on that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Satyanarayan, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing some knowledge, some important points which the students really need now. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Students, we have posted today's quiz link in the chat box. Kindly scroll it and you can see the link and you can fill the use. That link will open up to 8 p.m. Thereafter, the link will get closed.